The night began with music, laughter, and the soft fragrance of good wine drifting through the air. My husband, Daniel, and I were hosting a small dinner, just a mix of friends and a couple of colleagues. The mood was easy light, full of that familiar blend of half-truths and polite humor that floats around every dinner table. I'd had a few glasses, enough to feel bold, maybe a little too bold. When someone asked how long we'd been married, I smirked and rolled my eyes. 77 years. I joked. Maybe it's time for an upgrade, a newer model husband. The table burst into laughter. Everyone laughed except Daniel. I didn't notice right away. I was too caught up in the attention, the teasing, the playful banter. One friend nudged Daniel and joked, "Careful, man. You might get traded in." I laughed louder. "Maybe I'll find one who actually listens," I added. More laughter, more wine. But Daniel stayed quiet. His smile had vanished, replaced by something cold and unreadable as he stared at his plate. I brushed it off, told myself he was being dramatic. It was just a joke. Couples tease each other all the time. He'd get over it, or so I thought. As dinner went on, the atmosphere started to shift. The laughter felt thinner, forced. Every time I tried to make another quip, Daniel just watched me, calm, expressionless. By the time dessert arrived, the tension was thick enough to taste. One of my co-workers tried to cut through the awkwardness. "So, Daniel," they said with a nervous laugh, "you gonna let her trade you in?" He set his fork down slowly, lifted his head and smiled, but it wasn't the kind of smile that warms a room. "No," he said quietly. "I don't think she'll need to." The laughter stopped. My pulse spiked. "What do you mean?" I asked, trying to sound amused, though my voice trembled. He leaned back in his chair, his tone frighteningly calm. "If she wants a new husband," he said evenly, "she doesn't have to look far. She's already been spending plenty of time with Mark from accounting." The silence that followed was suffocating. The sound of my heartbeat drowned out everything else. "Daniel," I whispered, but he didn't stop. "I've seen the texts, the late-night messages, the meetings that somehow never make it onto your calendar. Maybe the joke's on me, for thinking I still had a wife." No one spoke. My co-workers shifted uncomfortably, eyes darting anywhere but at me. The air was heavy with secondhand embarrassment. My face burned. My throat tightened. "Daniel, please," I murmured, barely audible. He looked at me then, with a restrained mix of anger and heartbreak that chilled me to the bone. "You wanted to make a joke," he said quietly. "I just thought I'd finish it for you." His words hit like glass shattering in slow motion. No one moved. The only sound was the ticking clock on the wall. I tried to speak. It wasn't like that," I stammered. He gave a faint, bitter smile. "You're right," he said softly. "It's never like that until it is." My hands shook. My colleagues avoided my eyes. The humiliation burned through me like fire. Every smug laugh I'd given minutes earlier now twisted like a knife. His words weren't shouted. They were surgical, precise, each one landing exactly where it would hurt most. After a long, unbearable pause, Daniel stood up. He straightened his jacket, placed his napkin on the table, and looked at me one last time. "You always needed the last word, Emma," he said quietly. "Now you have it." Then he turned and walked out, leaving behind a table full of people too stunned to move. I sat frozen, heart racing, mouth dry, my own laughter echoing in my head like a cruel memory. The silence that followed was deafening. Finally, someone whispered, "Emma, was he serious?" I couldn't answer. Shame pressed down on me like a weight I couldn't lift. My own words had come back at me, sharper than I ever intended. They weren't just jokes anymore. They were reflections of someone I no longer recognized, careless, detached, and cruel. In that moment, I realized I hadn't just embarrassed him. I'd lost him. When I got home later that night, the house felt hollow. His side of the closet was empty. On the kitchen counter sat a note. 3 simple words written in his handwriting. "Enjoy the upgrade." That was when everything inside me broke. I sank to the floor, shaking, crushed beneath the truth of what I'd done. My humor, my supposed charm, hadn't been wit. It had been armor, arrogance, a mask for insecurity. And the man I'd mocked? He was gone. For good. Months have passed since that night. Sometimes I still see him from a distance. Lighter, freer, untouched by the wreckage I left behind. When people now say, "It's just a joke," I almost smile because I know better. Some jokes aren't jokes at all. They're confessions. And once spoken, they can't be taken back. That night, when I tried to be funny, I didn't just lose the laugh. I lost the only person who ever truly loved me, and the silence he left behind was louder than any punchline I could ever deliver.